Happy supermoon in Scorpio. This Scorpio super full moon becomes exact on Thursday, May 7th at 6:45 a.m. New York time, which is 10:45 Greenwich Mean Time. A supermoon occurs when the moon is physically closer to the Earth than usual, thus amplifying its effects. Well, my fellow humans, life continues to be quite strange on this planet, am I right? At this point, we should pretty much just get used to life being unexpected from now on. Things have gotten so bizarre that the mainstream news outlets released a declassified UFO video pretty much proving that extraterrestrials exist, and no one really seemed to care. I advised in my Taurus new moon video a fortnight ago to expect the unexpected. Well, we heard that Kim Jong-un was critically ill, then possibly dead, and now seemingly totally fine. Big protests have erupted around the world in the past 2 weeks, including armed men and women storming into the Capitol building in Lansing, Michigan. An analysis came out in the Financial Times, which seems to prove that COVID-19 is, in fact, a real virus, as I've been saying all along. Death rates around the world have skyrocketed by an almost unfathomable 50% in the past few months, and in fact it appears COVID-19 deaths have been underreported. The statistical analysis suggests that the real number of deaths from the virus is well over 300,000 and climbing. And you can check out that report by searching for the Financial Times article about death rates. But the lockdowns themselves may be causing even more harm than the virus itself. Robert Kennedy Jr. relayed a statistic in a fantastic interview with Brian Rose of London Real that for every 1% increase in unemployment in the United States, there will be an additional 37,000 eventual deaths as a result. And economists are estimating that we are currently at approximately 18% unemployment in the United States. The Great Depression of 1933 had an approximately 25% unemployment rate. As I predicted 2 weeks ago, tensions with China have increased. This is going to be something to continue to pay attention to. The puppet masters would like nothing more than to see a war, trade or military, between the two world powers, further crippling world trade. What a perfect time then for us to have a supermoon in Scorpio, the sign that rules death, karma, fear, greed, and control structures. Actually, when the Scorpio full moon rolls around, it holds a special place in my heart. As someone with a Scorpio sun and a predominantly Scorpio birth chart, it is by far my favorite sign. I love the depth, the passion, and the life or death intensity of Scorpio. As the most deeply emotional of all the zodiac signs, Scorpio invites us to really honor the depth of all of our emotions, especially the uncomfortable ones like rage, grief, and fear. It asks for us to acknowledge the presence of shame and guilt within. It encourages us to honor the depth of the man part of the human, as in the physical, emotional, dense self. As human beings, we are both God, Hu, and man. We are both spiritual beings and physical beings. For many of us in the spiritual community, we are much more comfortable with the spiritual side of things rather than the physical. It is nice to escape the tragedy of the world by meditating and astral traveling. However, it doesn't mean it's healthy to pretend that what is going on this planet isn't occurring, nor is it helpful to ignore the real issues and obstacles you face in your own personal life. To be a holistically healthy, divine, fifth-dimensional human being, we must master both the physical and the spiritual. Any tendency of yours towards escapism or addiction will likely build up a pressure so great inside that you'll find yourself overreacting with anger or crying for no reason even around this full moon and over the next few days. We have the feeling during this full moon that there's something deeper that hasn't yet been explored, like there's a totally new level of rawness beneath the skin that is yet to come up. The depth and intensity of the Scorpio energy scares many away because it can be uncomfortable. However, for those brave enough to explore the depths of one's own consciousness and emotional body, the reward is karmic transmutation, which is one of the very reasons you came to this planet and one of the most important facets of the ascension journey. The most relevant deep emotion to explore and work with during this time is fear. You don't need me to tell you that we are facing the imminent collapse of the old world. Pluto in Capricorn promises to completely demolish the old financial system by the time it exits that sign in 2024. Worldwide artificially created famines are likely on the horizon. Mandatory schmaxines are a possibility in every nation. In fact, in Denmark, an emergency resolution was shooed through the legislature without much worldwide press on March 13th, giving the police the authority to break into people's homes and forcibly schmaxinate them. Yes, really. You can read about it if you are good at Google searching. And if you think that other countries won't follow suit, you're probably not living in reality. It only takes one government to set a dangerous and horrific precedent, and that's already happened. Facing what seems like the apocalypse from the book of Revelation, which is the final book in the New Testament of the Christian Bible, fear is a natural emotion. But fear is the exact emotion that will lead us down the dark timeline of a tyrannical dystopian world controlled by artificial intelligence, where your thoughts are no longer yours. See, it's ironic, but in order to pull ourselves out of the dark dystopian timeline that is a distinct possibility, we have to eliminate fear as much as possible. The reptilian beings that have ruled planet Earth for thousands of years literally feed off fear and death. They're hybrid patsies here on Earth, like Bill Bates, likewise both literally and figuratively feed off of fear and death. The entire ancient control structure held in place by these Saturn-Satan worshippers literally is completely predicated off of fear, because that is their source of nourishment. Without fear, the whole house of cards crumbles. So they must keep us tied into only the five senses with a perpetual underlying unconscious and sometimes conscious fear of our own physical perishment in order to keep the whole charade going. This is exactly why the ascension trumps the dystopian nightmare when fear ceases to be the prevailing vibration of the planet. Do you see why for millennia they have been dividing and separating us into false identities based on geographic location, race, creed, sex, gender, favorite sports team, and wealth accumulation? The one perpetual fear that nearly every human feels constantly on at least an unconscious level is the fear of death. What really is the fear of death, though? What are we actually fearing? Is it the pain of death? We've all been through physical pain before, so is it that? Or is it the fear of not existing? Or the fear of the unknown? This is literally the best time ever, right now, to overcome the fear of death, at least to an extent. Here are some good journal or voice journal prompts to help you negotiate this difficult theme. And as always with my videos, I suggest that if you'd like and if you have the time, pause the video and do some journaling right now on these questions. How confident am I that life continues after my physical body dies? What scares me most about dying? What do I think happens after death? What do I think the afterlife is like? Is a big part of my fear of death simply a fear of the unknown? What is it that most scares me about the unknown? Can I recall examples from my past when I was scared of the unknown and then everything turned out to be okay? Can I recall examples from my past when the unknown actually turned out to be enjoyable? What would it be like if I was just a little bit more willing to allow changes to occur in my life? What would it be like if I was just a little bit more willing to allow the world to change? If I had just a little bit less fear, what would I do that I have been putting off? I would like to quote Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorite spiritual teachers in the world, to finish off this section. The secret to life is to die before you die and find that there is no death. Shedding your skin. We have entered a brave new world, and life will never go back to the way that it was. I believe that our most likely ascension trajectory, as it stands today, is to experience a few rocky years as this battle of light versus dark plays out on our planet, before the tide of awakening becomes just too intense, provoking our benevolent Christed extraterrestrial friends to intervene on a vast scale, removing the dark ones and educating the masses on how to live as an awakened planet. However, I am still confident that if more and more of the masses wake up really quickly, we can avert most of the impending tragedy and experience a smoother transition to the awakened Earth. For that to happen, though, in my opinion, would require a pretty miraculous leap in consciousness for a large number of people, and quickly. There are encouraging signs, such as the number of people sharing videos and knowledge digitally, peer-to-peer, and on social media, which is very relevant for this north node of the moon moving into Gemini on May 6th, and more on that later. For example, the latest David Icke interview with Brian Rose of London Real garnered 1.3 million live views, and 2/3 of those found their way through peer-to-peer link sharing. Another encouraging sign is to look at all the comments on Bill Bates's Instagram posts. People are posting comments such as, "We do not consent to your schmaxine," by the hundreds of thousands. It seems like his handlers have given up on even trying to delete all of the incoming comments. You and I are already awake. For us, it's about continuing to step into our awakened 5D selves, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. To do that, we must shed all of the old skin, just as a snake must periodically shed his skin in order to grow. Astrologically, a Scorpio supermoon is about the best possible event to let go of and shed outdated possessions, beliefs, perspectives, and relationships. And for those relationships that are not meant to end completely, it is the perfect time to really evaluate them and to have a deep, clearing, bonding, resolving talk with that person. Usually when we talk of people who fall into the category of difficult relationships that aren't meant to just end completely, we're speaking of family members. For example, my mother has been by far the most difficult person in my life, though she is also my best friend. Her and I have had a difficult past life history with a lot of karma to balance and alchemize in this lifetime. I'd like to offer a helpful explanation of family dynamics on the soul level in order to assist you in reevaluating and hopefully improving those trying familial relationships from here on out. Family dynamics. Have you already heard of a thing called the life plan? Have you heard that you choose your parents, siblings, place of birth, and even your future partners before you are born? This is all completely true. Before you come into the body, you are the soul. As the soul, you work with spirit guides, ascended masters, and other souls to intricately create your life plan. Where you are born, the parents you are born to, the gist of your relationships with those parents and any step-parents or adopted parents, as well as any siblings, and the gist of your relationships with any significant romantic partners, are just a few of the things that are planned out pre-birth. The intention of the life plan is to create the necessary situations that will give you the opportunity to negotiate the lessons your soul desires for you to work through during the physical incarnation. As you complete or partially complete each lesson, that experience gained contributes to the evolution of your soul. The particular lessons your soul chooses to partake in a given lifetime are directly related to karma accumulated by the soul in previous or even parallel lifetimes. The soul always wishes to balance the positive and negative aspects of all possible themes experienced. On top of general karma from past lives that the soul wishes to balance in a particular lifetime, and ancestral karma that you take on based on your genetic lineage, There is also specific karma that exists between particular souls. For example, you and your mother may have incarnated together many times, perhaps being sisters in one lifetime, friends in another, and husband and wife in yet another. In this example, there would be some karma carried over from likely all of those previous incarnations, though there may be one particular incarnation where the bulk of the karma stems from. Often this is the most recent lifetime from the standpoint of linear time. Let's say that in the most recent lifetime with your mother, you actually played the role of husband and wife. Perhaps the character your soul was playing and left the character your mother's soul was playing and ran off with another man. Perhaps your mother's character felt betrayed by this. In this example, the memories of that relationship from that most recent lifetime would be in the cells of each of your bodies during this present lifetime. Perhaps in this present lifetime, your mom would be overbearing and overprotective of you because she would have a deep-seated fear of you betraying her. Perhaps she would get jealous of your partners. Perhaps she would act passive-aggressively or even manifest illnesses to see if you truly loved her and cared about her, or if you would leave her like you did in that last lifetime. You will know when there is significant past life karma between yourself and a family member, when you often have irrational emotional reactions to things that shouldn't logically cause such a reaction, or if they have those irrational reactions. You might intuitively feel that there is some deeper issue with a particular family member than just what has happened in this lifetime. Oftentimes, there is significant past life karma with those family members with whom we have the most difficult relationships in this life. The natural evolution of all relationships is towards resolution, whether it seems like it or not. Each soul desires not only to balance its personal accumulated karma from past lives and the ancestral karma it inherits, in reality chooses, from the physical incarnate's genetic lineage, but also the specific past life karma it carries with another soul. This karma can be worked out in the afterlife if need be, but it seems that souls see the most value in working through karma on the earth plane. So even for those really difficult family relationships that seem like it will be impossible to resolve in this lifetime, there is still a chance that the opportunity will arrive in the future for some resolution to occur. Sometimes it requires one of the people involved being on their deathbed, but it doesn't always need to get that point prior to resolution. Each relationship is entirely unique, and there isn't any one-size-fits-all approach that will heal every relationship. Sometimes giving someone the benefit of the doubt and being willing to forgive and let go of what happened in the past leads to a renewed relationship that is supportive to both parties. Sometimes, however, a relationship isn't ready to move into healthier stages of its evolution, and the best option for the well-being of both parties is for the relationship to end, and this includes family relationships. Sometimes it will take 1, 5, or a 10-year silence between parties before the resolution can occur. In other instances, there is a third option, and that is having limited communication with someone while loving them from afar. A mature spiritual being knows when someone isn't good for them, and is willing to still love and support them long distance. I have found that for pretty much all of the friends that are still left over in my life from before my awakening, I have chosen the support from afar option. I still talk to these old friends, but I'm not comfortable hanging out with them more than once in a while. Oftentimes, a bit of separation is all a relationship needs to rebalance itself. You might argue constantly with your mom while you live with her, but when your job takes you out of state and you see her only once a year, all of a sudden you both might realize that your time together is precious, and you both naturally let go of grievances against one another. We learn most from the most difficult relationships. Those family members or ex-partners that trigger us the most are inevitably helping us to negotiate our pre-planned life lessons. So realize that though the frustration is there in whichever difficult relationship comes to mind, and rightfully so, the vexation is not for naught. These most difficult relationships are giving you an opportunity to grow spiritually and to do exactly what you had planned to do before you put on your bodysuit as a human being. The most difficult part often is figuring out what you are meant to learn. Sometimes a relationship is trying to teach you how to respect yourself. Sometimes it is teaching you how to let go. Sometimes it is teaching you how to become your truest self. And other times it is trying to teach you how to be vulnerable. Here are some questions to consider when ruminating on your familial relationships and how you can best navigate them. And again, these are great to journal on, especially if there's one person you have in mind. What irritates me most about this person? Do I tend to do the same thing that that person does to irritate me, but just in a smaller dose? If so, could I acknowledge that and make that part of me who does that feel a little bit more welcome? If I were to truly honor myself, is there something I would tell this person I'm thinking of, even if it would make them upset? How might it shift my relationship with this person if I were to consciously make an effort to appreciate their positive qualities more? And note, this does not mean it's okay to stay in any sort of abusive relationship, because it is not okay. Might it be helpful if I became a little bit more aware of when this person might need space and when it is a good time to bring up difficult topics that they might react to? How might loving myself a bit more lead to a better relationship with this person? Might some distance between myself and this person improve our relationship? And by the way, if you are meditating on these questions, especially if you have, one or usually people have several, family members in mind that the relationships have just been rocky and frustrating, if you'd like some really deep clarity on it, one of the things that I am most good at in my work is reading the past life history and the karmic history between souls. This is exactly what I do in my soul plan reading. So if you want to know what happened in a past life between yourself and another person, why is a relationship like this in this current lifetime? What do you have to learn from it? How do you alchemize it so that it becomes something that is healthier for both of you? If you'd like to know more about that, please consider one of my soul plan readings. And again, everything right now is on a sliding scale because of the economic situation of the world. So you can go to my website. It's yourdivinehuman.org if you're interested in that. And I'll talk more about those readings a little bit later, but I just wanted to mention that for everyone. Karmic soulmates, karmic twins, and twin flames. When planning an incarnation, the soul will generally plan out several significant romantic partnerships that are meant to take place. You will enter any given romantic relationship at a certain level of consciousness and evolution on your human journey, but you are always growing whether you know it or not. Every romantic relationship provides a tremendous potential for soul growth as you navigate your pre-planned life lessons. The more difficult the relationship, the faster the potential for growth. Note, this doesn't mean that you should go out of your way to look for dysfunctional relationships, because what I said is that there's the potential for growth. It is also possible to stay stuck in a few particular lessons and continue to manifest the same dysfunctional relationship with different characters over and over again. And in fact, for most of the population, this is exactly what happens. There is such a thing as a soul contract between each person in a romantic relationship. The soul contract was created before birth and states the general lessons themes that the parties will be helping each other work through. It includes any major events that were pre-planned to occur during the relationship, such as accidents, illnesses, a temporary separation. And it will also include different possibilities for the ending of the relationship based on the free will choices of each party. If a relationship is a true twin flame relationship, then undoubtedly you and that person will find your way back together if you had ever been separated, because it's in the contract. However, if it's a karmic soulmate or karmic twin relationship, the separation could be temporary or it could be for life. Again, it depends on what is in the contract and whether you are meant to be on a twin flame journey in this lifetime. Often what happens is that the soul will set up a series of karmic soulmate relationships for you to traverse through and learn from. And then if you finally do learn what you needed to learn, you'll be able to attract your true twin flame. This is what I call a type 2 twin flame. A type 1 twin flame, which is less common, is when two people come together early in life, then go through several separations as they each negotiate their own individual ascension journeys before finally coming back together for good. What's crucial to understand is that if you are in a relationship in which you intuitively feel like it is coming to an end, It is not because you've done anything wrong or failed on your journey in any way. Quite to the contrary, the reality is that when a relationship comes to an end, it is because you've learned exactly what you were meant to learn from the relationship, again, whether you're fully aware of it or not, and it is time to move on. Usually, of course, breakups aren't mutual. In the case of light workers, what most often happens is that one person's vibration accelerates at a much quicker rate than their partner's, creating a vibrational dissonance in the shared energetic field that has been created by the relationship. Naturally, the relationship will eventually have to come to a conclusion. When a partnership does end, it may feel sad on the human level, but on a soul level, it is cause for celebration. Really. Souls literally celebrate the ending of a relationship because they know that the soul contract has been dutifully fulfilled. They know that it means an exciting new beginning is in store for each person. Many romantic relationships and partnerships may reach a critical point around the Scorpio supermoon. Deep-seated, formerly unexpressed feelings and judgments may come out in unexpected and inconvenient ways. Arguments may happen. For some relationships, it will be exactly what is needed to initiate the conclusion of the soul contract. For others, it will be exactly what is needed for the two beings to have a deep, clearing talk and to realize that they both want to make it work. Here are some questions to help you decipher what is to be learned and how you can improve your romantic relationships or partnerships if you're currently in one. If I am totally honest with myself, are my partner and I growing closer together or growing farther apart? If we are growing farther apart, could I accept, or at least accept a little bit more, that this may be the natural evolution of our relationship? Would I desire my partner to be totally honest with me if he or she had something to tell me? If so, then is there something I'm feeling that my partner deserves to know? Am I staying in a relationship because it feels good and I truly desire to be there, or because it is comfortable and recognizable? If I were to love myself just a little bit more, how might it improve this relationship? If I were to love myself just a little bit more, would I still be in this relationship? The 2020s is the decade that will ultimately decide our fate as a human species. One important aspect of the planned ascension game over the next decade is the twin flame journey. Many, if not most, light workers have planned before birth to merge with their twin flame in this lifetime. Once this twin flame merging happens, and in the case of the type 1 twin flame sticks, the two individual ascension processes merge into one. A new field is created between the two lovers, and this field is much more powerful than the two previously unmerged fields. This is the true meaning of a power couple. If you're single and seeking your twin flame, as I am, you may find yourself yearning for that union on this Scorpio supermoon. Not only does Scorpio cover life, death, and transformation, it also is the domain of the deepest, most passionate sexual and energetic union between man and woman, or in the case of homosexuals, the masculine and feminine polarities. Whether you're sure of who your twin flame is and you're separated from him or her, or if you're unsure of who it is or even have no idea who it possibly could be, one of my favorite things to do is to look up at the full moon and talk to my twin flame through the ethers. I let her know that I'm working on myself as much as I can so I can be ready for her when it is the divinely appointed time for us to merge. The depth, passion, and life or death intensity of the Scorpio supermoon makes it the perfect time to do this exercise. Personally, I find that my single greatest motivation in life to improve myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually is so that I can be the absolute best, most refined version of myself when it's time to meet my twin flame. I think to myself, who do I want to be when her and I come together? And that's the trajectory I set for myself. I am very grateful that I've experienced several painful heartbreaks throughout my adult life. Each heartbreak initiated a new stage of my spiritual journey and gave me further reason to become a better version of myself so that I would have the honor of experiencing a new relationship in the future. For so many lightworkers, long-term relationships have either recently ended or are coming to an end in this portal year of 2020. If you fall into one of those categories, then I would encourage you to remember that each heartbreak will lead you to previously unexplored places within and give you the opportunity to have exciting new experiences in the world. Each time your precious heart breaks, it will give you the opportunity to become a more spiritually advanced version of yourself so that eventually it won't need to be broken again. And by the way, another thing that I specialize in these soul plan readings is reading whether a romantic relationship is a karmic soulmate, a karmic twin, or a twin flame, a type 1, type 2, and if there's a past life history between your soul and their soul or not. So again, if you're interested in those soul plan readings, you can go to my website. It's yourdivinehuman.org. Venus station. Venus, currently in Gemini, is slowing down, preparing to station on May 13th before going retrograde. This exaltation of Venus squares Neptune in Pisces, causing us to want to spread knowledge interpersonally, especially occult and spiritual knowledge, though there is the potential for people to be divisive based on their beliefs about what is going on in the world. We've already been seeing this with the divide amongst people who believe in Q or don't believe in Q, as well as those who believe that the virus is fake and those who believe it is real, and you all know where I stand on this. We shan't let divisions in beliefs keep us from our goal. The positive side of this aspect is that people are going to want to talk to each other more than usual, especially via the internet, as Gemini rules digital communication. Be aware that the Venus square with Neptune can cause illusions. Always use a discerning eye when you read information, watch videos, or listen to channelings. It is a great time to refine your intuition and your bullshit detector. This warning regarding illusions is also applicable when you are seeking to escape your current reality through another person. The idea of a new or even future relationship can be exciting. However, we must not forget that if we are not already happy ourselves, we definitely won't be happy with another person. We think that we will be, but that is the illusory part. The truth is, if you aren't already relatively peaceful and content on your own, you might find relief in a new relationship, but you won't find true happiness. True happiness can only come from within. Seek a relationship in order to enhance your life, not to fix it. North Node enters Gemini. On May 6th, the North Node of the Moon entered Gemini, where it will be until January 2022. The North Node represents the soul's destiny. On a collective level, the 8 billion humans on this planet will be led towards Gemini's highest aspect, which is knowledge and truth. All that us lightworkers know already will be revealed to the mass public more and more over the next year and a half. It is likely that the continued insanity of world events will be the catalyst for this mass truth-seeking. What remains to be seen is how bad the tyranny needs to get in order for this mass awakening to occur. As I said previously, if the collective wakes up more quickly, we will be able to avert the worst possible timelines. Remember that courage is infinitely more powerful than fear. Wishing you an incredible supermoon in Scorpio. From my heart to yours, Matthew John. And if you're not familiar with who I am a spiritual teacher, spiritual mentor, intuitive healer, starseed guide, energy healer, and medical intuitive working with angels, archangels, and ascended masters. I'm a gifted intuitive, wisdom channeler, and a transmitter of healing frequencies. I've been on an 11-year, well, longer than 11-year now, awakening journey. My powerful and effective teachings and healings are a product of many intense awakening experiences, deeply human ordeals, and tens of thousands of hours of study. And I would like to let you know that I am taking on new clients for the end of May and especially June for my very popular spiritual mentoring program. And I would love to just go over the program briefly with you to see if it's something that you might feel you're intuitively guided to. There are tiers to the program. There's a package A, B, C, and D. The package A is 4 sessions, 90 minutes or longer, including the first session being a soul plan reading. Like I discussed before, I'm going to read your karmic history, your past life history, the karmic history between other people, and especially family and romantic partnerships, and this could also be friends and business partners as well. I'm going to be reading your specific life lessons, what your soul came here to learn. I'm going to talk a lot about your dharma. What is it that your soul really wants to manifest while you're in the physical? Why did you come here? What do you need to create while you're here? And what does your future look like? And what do you need to look out for in the future as well? So we're going to go over all that in the soul plan reading. Second session, we do the angel energy healing, aura cleansing, a soul retrieval, an inner child healing, an unhealthy attachments purging ceremony. It is a very intense shamanic session where we're working on your energy body on all levels. There's a lot of releasing and then a lot of rebuilding and restructuring of your energetic field, working on all of your chakras and your aura and cleaning up any negativity, anything you can imagine that might be in your aura, anything that's holding on to you. We're going to make sure we clear it during that session. The third session, we do a medical intuitive nutrition reading. This is for your physical health, of course. I'm going to be doing a body scan, and we are also going to be talking about the metaphysical causes for any symptoms that you might chronically experience, and you are going to get a good idea of how to move forward with your healing journey. I'm going to give you recommendations for supplements, meditations, exercises, diet, lifestyle, very holistic. And you're also going to get a 7 to 11 page intuitive nutrition report in your email within 2 weeks. You also get a chakra scan and a 2 to 3 page chakra report with that as well. The fourth session, we do the Starseed Discovery session, which is a whole lot of fun. If you think you might be a starseed or you want to find out if you're a starseed, even if you know you're a starseed, even if you know where you're from in the stars, this session is so valuable because you get to travel in the astral plane to your home planet or your place of origin, wherever it may be in the multiverse, and to experience it firsthand, to connect with your galactic guides, and to get an activation from your galactic guides and some information about your dharma as well that maybe we even didn't get in the reading that's coming directly from your guides, to bring that all down to earth and to be able to live a more holistic and effective life as a starseed. We also, if you're someone who's working on creating a spiritual business, it's something that I've helped many, many entrepreneurs with in the past couple of years. So we can work on that as time allows if you're interested in that. Also, intuitive psychic development coaching as time allows. I do give you some homework between calls, spiritually themed things you can do to support your healing journey with me. And you also get unlimited email support between calls, and you get 3 bonus webinars to do on your own time between calls: Putting the Past in the Past, Mastering Your Intuition, Spiritual Hygiene, Cord Cutting, and Grounding 101. And you also get an ebook with that called Developing the Skills of Discernment and Intuition. So that is Package A. Package B is all that, plus a 2-hour past life regression session. In this past life regression, you are traveling to the most relevant past lives that your higher self determines you should see, that will help you gain a broader and deeper understanding of your mission and karma in this lifetime. And usually you get to go to 2 to 3 lives and also the space between lives, which is really cool to see. And also there's Package C, which includes all that, plus an additional future life progression session. You get to travel forward in time in this lifetime to experience your highest possible future at different points in the timeline, for example, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years out. And you also get some additional webinars, a deeper level of forgiveness, awakening the divine masculine, navigating the dark night of the soul, dissolving the ego, how to move on completely from your ex. And you also get another audio called I Love You Regardless. So all that's Package C. There's also Package D options, where these are extended packages where we also do some optimization coaching as well. So all of those are, if you want to check those out, they're on my website. It's youaredivinehuman.org. Scroll your mouse over private sessions, and it's the first tab. It says Spiritual Mentoring Packages. Click on that. You can read all about the packages. If a package doesn't work for you, now the thing is because of this pandemic, I'm offering everything on my website on a sliding scale, because I understand people's finances are not what they necessarily were last year. I totally understand. I'm on board. I know what's going on in the world. I'm realistic about it. So my prices have stayed the same, but the option is that if you need to pay less, you can. So for packages, you can pay up to 30% less, okay? And for individual sessions, everything I just mentioned in the packages I also offer it just as a one-off session. You can also get those at a 50% discount, up to 50%. And it's based on good faith. You pay what you can afford to pay. If you can afford to pay full price, pay full price. If you can afford to pay, 80% of the full price, pay that. If you can afford to pay only half of the full price, that's fine too. You can pay that. And for the sliding scale, you can use that option once every month. And if you have any questions about the options or the packages, if you have any personal questions, if you have any questions about this full moon, anything at all that you think I might be able to help you with, please, I'm very accessible, okay? Please contact me. The best way is to go to my website, youaredivinehuman.org. Look in the bottom right corner of the screen. There's a chat tab, and it's got my picture, and it says, Matthew John, have questions, ask Matthew. Click on that, type in your question, your email. I will get back to you usually within 12 hours. I do my best. Okay? So any questions, I'm happy to hear from you, or if you just want to say hi, you can also comment below with any questions or comments. I do read all the comments. And I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful supermoon. This is a strong one. This is a really, really strong moon. Other things that are really good to do on this full moon, if you're in a warm area, unfortunately I am not. It is still in the 30s here at night, or even the 20s Fahrenheit. But if you are in a warm area, do some moon bathing. Basically just like sunbathing. Lay outside and even take off, some of your items of clothing so that more of your skin can absorb the moonlight. Just like certain plants, nightshades, potatoes, tomatoes grow in the moonlight. We can also grow spiritually in the moonlight, and you'll find it very energizing. So moon gazing is great. Putting your crystals out under the moon is also a great idea as well. You can make full moon water by putting water in a glass jar, putting it out under the full moon with an intention. What do you want the moon to help you with over the next 28 days? And another exercise is to make a fire, a ceremonial fire, and write down anything you want to let go of in your life, and write them on a little piece of paper, burn them in the fire while you visualize letting it go. Those are all great rituals to do on the full moon. All right, everyone, it's been my absolute pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to hearing from a lot of you in comments and emails and messages and all that. Until next time, until next new moon, this has been Matthew John.